The good, the bad, and the odd. They're sorted.
Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Odd with your host Mark and Sam. Today we are covering the anime series JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Hi Sam.
Hey.
Okay, this is your choice. What we've actually watched. I mean, this is the first season of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
First 9 episodes of the first season.
So, it's the first season is actually longer than this.
Yeah, it's actually the first 2 parts of the storyline.
Okay, because there was
the first part.
Right. So, but that comprises 9 episodes. It's a self-contained story, in effect. It was in Japanese with subtitles.
Yeah.
And each episode was about 23 or 4 minutes long.
Yeah, it was for a half-hour slot, so...
Yeah, do you want to fill in everyone over the main characters, and then I'll start picking out the episodes as we go.
So, it's based on the manga written by Hirohiko Araki. This is called JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, but the main character for this part is Jonathan Joestar, and his allies Speedwagon and Zeppeli, as they fight the villainous vampire Dio Brando.
Dio Brando, yeah. And the whole history of that sort of is set up in episode 1.
We're introduced to the sort of microcosm of just these 2 characters, because it's really this arc is built around their rivalry.
Yes. Yeah. The first episode was Dio the Invader. The whole episode series is set in England.
Yeah.
And effectively, we see an overturned carriage where a man is kind of suffering, and he's got a baby son, but his wife is killed.
His wife was killed in some sort of crash, a carriage crash, and there's a looter, Dario Brando, who's come to steal his stuff, expecting him to be dead, but because he's alive, the guy swears like...
He doesn't realise he's a looter, does he? He thinks he's a rescuer, and he swears eternal allegiance to him, which means sometime later, I think 12 years later, he takes his son into his house, this raider's, looter's son, who's called Dio, into his house. And in the meantime, the baby has grown up to be JoJo.
Jonathan Joestar.
Yeah, JoJo. Who's we see him kind of obsessed with honour.
Yeah, he's a very sort of chivalrous kid.
Yeah, doesn't he have a fight with some ruffians who are like...
Yeah, purely because they're picking on someone.
Yeah, even though he knows he's going to lose. We do see Dario kind of on his deathbed as a decrepit old man, cackling old man, who says that Dio is going to move in with the Joestars, because then that will fulfill the father, JoJo's father's sort of debt to him. But he basically intends to... he doesn't make friends with JoJo, does he?
No, the opening introduction to him is he kicks JoJo's dog in the head.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal. And he tells him, I will always best you. And it just turns out whenever the father stumbles upon him, it looks like JoJo's picking on him.
Yeah.
Rather than the other way around. So his father sort of takes Dio's side as well.
Yeah. And because JoJo's like a carefree kid, he doesn't really apply himself to the sort of behaviours of the nobility that he's expected to. So he doesn't really... He eats in a fairly sloppy manner in comparison to his father and Dio.
Yeah, and his father's kind of disgusted, thinks he's been too soft on him, he's spoiled him.
Yeah.
And we also see that JoJo is in love with this girl called Irina, and Dio finds this out and actually forces her to kiss him as her first kiss.
And this is a big thing to her, so...
Yeah, she kind of can't face JoJo anymore.
What I like is she immediately spits in Dio's face with this by washing her mouth with dirty puddle water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Doesn't he slap her? Or am I
he then starts slapping the tar out of her.
Yeah.
And then runs off. And then JoJo finds out and proceeds to beat the tar out of him.
Dio thinks he's completely superior to JoJo in all things, but JoJo kind of surprises him, doesn't he, and catches him off guard. And some of Dio's blood spills onto this weird stone mask that's just hanging around.
Yeah, it's the father, George, is somewhat of a collector. They do
Right.
have like statues and like big paintings all around the house.
Yeah.
So
And when the mask gets blood on it, kind of grows these weird, I don't know, hooks.
spikes, they
At the
like
back of
drive
it.
into the head of anyone
Yeah.
wearing it.
No one's wearing it, so it just reforms. But Dio notices this. And that's
Well, they both notice it, and
yeah, and that's
JoJo's the only one that like goes into deep research because of it.
okay. But it isn't really covered in. Well, we see it, but that's right.
Yeah.
And then the episode kind of ends. So that's a bit of
Yeah,
setup.
it ends with Dio shoving the dog into a furnace.
Yeah, that's kind of grim.
Yeah, that's what Dio's like for every other part that he appears in.
Right. Well, there's this weird break at the start of episode 2 where they're kind of getting along.
Yeah, they jump.
And it's
They
a number of
jump 7 years ahead.
They're grown men, kind
Yeah.
of, at this point.
They're at a university.
So that suggests that Dio has been faking it all this time successfully,
Yeah.
though JoJo's still got some doubts.
JoJo's suspicious and Dio knows he's suspicious.
Yeah. So this second one's called Letter from the Past. And we see him kind of in a rugby team together.
Yeah, I did like that.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. It's kind of unusual.
It's not usual to see like rugby in, anything. So
What do you think of the subtitles throughout this series?
subtitles I quite like, though it might just be the one I was watching was pretty good.
Yeah, my one was a bit odd because some of it felt like the subtitles were like Google Translation subtitles. They didn't quite work, and the wording was kind of weird. But other times the subtitles were they were obviously picked carefully to be alliterative.
Yeah.
So it would be like the meddlesome man must meet my mayhem, it's stuff like that. It's obviously deliberately picked, and there was some kind of fun ones like that. But then other ones it was like, quick, he's stolen our quid instead of our money, And they were kind of trying to be English.
Yeah, it was kind of a failing on the translation,
And it didn't work. It didn't really work, but it was kind of fun. And the music was kind of cool at the beginning and end.
Yeah,
It was kind of
opening
jazz.
music.
It was kind of funky bass,
Yeah,
fast funky bass
and you
kind
had
of stuff.
Roundabout by I can't remember what though.
We did.
Yeah,
Famous band, wasn't it? I can't remember who did it, but it was a famous song from the titles. It sounded
Yeah,
like anyway.
it's Yes, the band.
Yes, yeah, that was it. But yes, right, wow. I was kind of surprised to hear a song, something like that in this.
Yeah.
Anyway, it quickly turns out right near the beginning, after this very short period where they're kind of getting along, where it's all a bit of a scam.
JoJo finds a letter from Dario, Dio's father,
Right.
detailing the exact same illness that his father seems to be suffering from at the moment.
Yeah, so basically he works out Dio was poisoning his own father and now he's poisoning JoJo's father or doing something in his food. And he actually says, give me that medicine. And Dio pulls the old, well, if you don't trust me now, if you insist on saying this, it means you don't trust me and our friendship is over, kind of thing. Anyway, JoJo doesn't stand for any of that, does he?
It's been a bit since I saw it, but if I remember correctly, he like really plays up Dio's pride. It's like, well, if you're really a decent person, you wouldn't have any qualms about having medicine tested or something such thing. He basically puts him in a verbal chokehold.
Yeah, kind of.
It.
There is a lot of you see, when the character's talking, they suddenly go into a different colour palette, like a red colour palette.
Yeah.
And we're getting their inner monologue while they're sort of working out stuff. And then it would cut back to the original.
Sometimes not even that. It'll just have characters screaming what's
it's
actually happening.
Yeah, and Dio keeps saying, right, for some reason.
He keeps just going,
and it turns out that Dio's a bad guy, basically.
Yeah. He's poisoning George, and Joseph basically sets out to Ogre Street in London to try and find out what the poison is and, well, if it can be cured.
Yeah, and he gets
into a huge fight.
Yeah, basically this guy tries to mug him, and he's got like a hat with a razor brim, a bit like Odd Job.
Yeah, he's got a buzzsaw hat that he JoJo just trashes him, and then the whole street appears to come out and fight him, and then they kind of stop because JoJo proved to be like honourable, or
it's a bit weird. This,
it was very quaint with how they expect English muggers to be.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Dio gets the stone mask, thinking he wants to understand it.
Yeah, he's intending to assassinate JoJo with it.
Yeah, and he thought he thinks he's going to test it. He has a run-in kind of room, so he then wants to do something with the mask, and he puts it on one of the guy's face and puts blood on it. Or spills the blood of the other person on it. Yeah, the other mugger or whatever.
Turns out this mask turns people into vampires.
And he Dio works this out. This guy that gets turned into a vampire, the sun comes up and sort of
it burns him to death.
Yeah. So Dio realises he's got this mask that can turn people into vampires, and therefore we're kind of back at the scene where he was asking him for the poison.
Yeah.
At the end of that, with all this other stuff going on.
Yeah.
It was cool. It was cool. So number 3 is Youth with Dio. Some of the titles for these episodes
a lot
really
of the titles
weird.
don't make sense.
Yeah. So also, when JoJo went to the place, he got an antidote. And he goes. He's about to turn Dio in.
Well, he does turn Dio in. The police are there. They're already there, and they're here to arrest him, and they've got the guy that Dio bought the poison from. However, Dio stabs Joseph's father, and then rubs it on the mask and lets it spear him, and then jumps backwards out a window while being shot.
Yeah. So he becomes like this vampire. They don't quite realise what he is. Also, one of the guys that was in the alley in Ogre Street, whose name's Speedwagon, Robert E.O. Speedwagon, R.E.O. Speedwagon, has followed them back because he considers JoJo honourable.
Yeah.
And he also... does he bring the guy that sold the poison as evidence?
It's like it's a dude named Wang Chen, which is just funny.
Yeah.
And he's the one that sold the poison. That's what I mentioned earlier when I said they had the guy.
Yeah. Anyway, it all kicks off here.
Dio proceeds to tear through police and, anyone nearby.
Yeah. He turns a couple of them to vampires, doesn't he? Or am I dreaming?
I think that's later on.
Okay. But he's... Oh, no, he brings one copper back as like a weird zombie thing.
Yeah. Zombies are like a common thing later on.
Yeah. So. Again, it all kicks off. The fight starts. The Speedwagon's there. They basically...
They set the house on
kind of
fire.
starts falling apart, and there's big fiery pits and stuff.
There's a pretty cool bit where Dio stomps his way up a wall.
Yeah, it's not bad, but then let me think. Isn't JoJo hurt? Like, got a broken arm or something? But he still grabs.
He charges Dio with like this big ceremonial spear, and Dio just like snaps the end off and stabs him in the shoulder.
Oh, that's it. But he still manages to grab Dio so he can't get away as they plunge downwards into like this burning pit.
Yeah, and it ends up with Dio speared on the top of a statue. So.
Yeah, so it looks like he's dead. And Wang Chen tries to get. He likes the mask. He wants the mask. But we think that sort of Dio's dead. But Wang Chen trying to get the mask, we see a hand grab him and drain his blood. So we know that Dio's kind of used the blood to recharge himself, kind of thing. It's a pretty exciting episode, this one. It's one of the good ones, I think. One of the better ones. I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah. Now,
should we actually say this podcast is full of spoilers? I mean, it's like kind of been obvious.
4 years old.
Yeah, maybe we should skip over.
And the manga itself is from like the 80s, so.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. The next episode I kind of like. This is the Dark Knight, so we get a whole history here of.
You skipped an episod.
Did I?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Number 4 is over.
You missed the introduction of my favourite character. Mr. William A. Zeppeli.
Oh yeah, Baron Zeppeli.
Yeah.
We also get Jonathan wakes up. Arena, who's older, is nursing him, and they kind of become friends again.
They start hitting it off.
Well, yeah, but as they go for a walk, he goes for a walk to recover. They encounter Zeppeli, who he's not sure if he's an enemy or not.
Yeah.
And Zeppeli starts telling him all about the what's it called? The Mystics. Hammon, yeah, the Mystics.
Hammon or the Ripple or
the Ripple. That's
Sendo
it.
sometimes.
And he's made himself known because he knows something's up,
Yeah.
really. And he starts showing him the Ripple, how to use something called Ripple energy, and it also these extra moves like being able to extend his arm longer by dislocating his shoulder, and so he can punch hide.
You can punch like 6 feet away.
In the meantime, by the way, as I said, this is set in England, and it's about 1880 or so.
Yeah.
That's 1888, I think. Meanwhile, Dio goes to London and he's looking for people to recruit for underlings, as it were. And he comes across Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
And he turns Jack. Doesn't he turn Jack the Ripper into a vampire? Yeah. And they go. What happens here? They go down. They then all go along to have a fight with Jack the Ripper.
Yeah. Jack the Ripper makes his presence known in a pretty cool way. He because they're all in a carriage. And so the carriage just suddenly stops in a tunnel, and they get out and they turn to the carriageman, and he's had one of the horse's heads wedged on top of his own. And
wow, that was bizarre. That was bizarre.
And then Jack the Ripper jumps out of the body of the horse.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. And not only basically, it turns out JoJo has to fight this Jack the Ripper vampire. But not only that, Zeppeli's there, but not only
Zeppeli's using it as a test and
doesn't help him. He gives him pretty much full glass of wine and says, "If you spill a drop of this during this fight, you'll never see me again," kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he basically does he? I didn't quite understand this. Was he using the wine as a way of amplifying his ripple, or was it?
I think it's just an understanding of balance in himself, keeping control.
Okay, so
anime tends to do that. It gives weird lessons to its characters, but it all just ends to the same thing. He knows how to use his power now.
Anime's got this weird thing which is prevalent in this story, which is when the characters are in the middle of a fight, the action kind of stops, whatever, and in a monologue, which tells you exactly what they're going to do next, and then they do it. And it's kind of, it gives you their full rationale on why they're doing it and what their doubts are and how they can overcome their doubts. Instead of just getting on with a fight, they go through.
Well, you've got to remember that it's adapted from comics where they can just slap a text box on. Yeah,
it's true, but it's a funny anime sort of flourish, really.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. And there's a massive fight, and basically he kills Jack the Ripper right at the end.
Yeah.
Right at the end, very last second. And then we get on to episode 5, which I already started talking about.
Yeah.
The Dark Knights. Here, we go back in history and find some knights that were betrayed by Elizabeth I when they were fighting for Mary, Queen of Scots.
Yeah.
And
this is a weird, tangent.
Yeah, they made a promise they basically surrendered to Elizabeth on grounds that she'd leave Mary, Queen of Scots alone, but then she still beheads Mary, Queen of Scots as they're on the chopping block.
Yeah.
And anyway, Dio goes back and revives them, so there's these killer knights. There's also a boy turns up from nowhere.
Poco. He just shows up at one point.
Yeah, he's trying to pickpocket them.
And then Dio turns up, and then the knights turn up. Zeppeli tries to fight Dio, but then we find out Dio's got freezing powers.
Yeah.
Which completely counteracts the Hamon, because for Hamon to work, you need to have proper breathing and blood circulation, and being frozen stops that. So,
but what happens is, he's out of the fight, but what happens is Speedwagon's still around, and he uses his body. Basically, it was weird. I thought he had superpowers for a minute because he rips his chest open. He's kind of glowing, but it was like an exaggerated thing of reality. Speedwagon was basically trying to warm up his arm with his own body here.
Yeah.
so lying on top of him kind of thing. And they even had another little anime digression where he's explaining how this is a tactic used among teams in the in the cold.
That's a thing.
Stuff like that. And anyway, there's a big fight between JoJo and the knight Bluford.
Yeah, Bruford.
Where they end up going into a lake and they're in the water, and Bluford says, make your move. I know you need more oxygen to finish your attack. So JoJo reasons, he's expecting me to go upwards. So I'll swim down. He remembers his dad telling him a story about when you need to take a bone from a dog, don't pull the bone, push it, and the dog will release it. So he swims down and he finds while he's swimming around, he reasons, there used to be mining around here, so there'll be air pockets. And basically, it goes on for ages.
He's able to hold his breath for about 20 minutes.
While he's thinking of stuff. And he basically goes to the bottom. Does he punch the ground or turn over a rock?
He breaks open the ground in some fashion, and there's an air pocket. He takes a breath and uses it to completely fry this vampire.
And in the oddest name in attack so far, which is the turquoise blue overdrive attack.
Yeah. He tends to suddenly come up with these things, like he's bursts out the yellow overdrive and the silver overdrive.
Yeah, I mean, this feels like almost like kids writing a story. They just make up something weird just for that particular thing. It's plotting a bit like James Bond films. Here's the gadget that will happen to be exactly what you need a bit later on. It's like, I need an attack that does this. Oh, it's this attack. I know how to get this. This thing I happen to have here.
There is a weird bit. I think it might be in this episode where they both just immediately know how to make a hang glider out of leaves with their hamon.
I don't remember that bit.
Yeah, it's after Bruford gets beaten. Tarkus launches himself at them, so they both use the leaves around them to make a hang glider and glide away.
With the kid on the back, is that
with the kid and Zepp and Speedwagon holding on.
Bizarre. And that leads to the next episode. This is kind of a two-part. Is it a two-part or even a three-part? The two episodes are quite closely linked anyway. The episode 6 is Tomorrow's Courage, where they're trying to get away, but we get we
get the rest of the Bluford fight and a big chunk of JoJo fighting the other knight, Tarkus.
Yeah.
Who pulls him into this weird fighting thing.
Yeah, but before that he gets JoJo gets a sword from Bluford. Bluford, he basically beats Bluford, but Bluford kind of regains his humanity and gives him a sword, which they make a big play of having the word luck written on the blade, and he scratches on the letter P.
Yeah, to make
so it's the sword of luck and pluck, which we see the Japanese translation to, what is it? Fortune and bravery.
Yeah.
Luck and pluck. The luck and pluck sword. So he's got that as part of his armory, as it were.
Yeah. And then Tarkus just comes up and takes a dump all over Bluford's humanity, and then just pulls JoJo into a weird American Gladiator style fight.
Yeah, well, they've got chains around their necks and they have to pull the chains.
Yeah.
That was really weird.
It was so bizarre.
And the kid's going, I want to go home. I think I'll go home. And then he sees a vent in the wall or a sort of...
A window.
A window, on a castle, across a space that's a cross shape, which he can get through. So because they figure out the latch for the door is on the inside and they can't get in. Zappelli's on the outside, Speedwagon's on the outside, and they're not quite sure what to do. The kid gets in and lets them in, and then it kind of kicks off from there, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, they...
Chain neck death match is what is described on the wiki.
It's weird. But Zeppeli tries to get in on the fight and gets caught up in the chains, and then he proceeds to get pulled in half, which was very gruesome.
Yeah, don't we also get this whole backstory of Zeppeli at this point?
Yeah, we get a bit about his teacher, Ton Petty, and a couple of his associates, Dyer and Straits.
Yeah,
they get really blatant with these things.
Yeah, sorry, who's the...
Ton Petty's his, mentor.
Yeah, but, sorry, Tom Petty's the llama.
Llama?
Where does the llama come into it?
What llama?
The Tibetan llama. I think we were watching slightly different translations because I was told the character you described as Tom Petty was called something different in mine.
Okay.
That's weird. Anyway, all right, okay, let's go on.
Because that's like one of the English names. They specifically go to like Tom Petty.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah.
Actually, no. I've just realised I've gone. This is we see Dyer.
Dire and Straits.
Straits is like a lama from Tibet. Oh, I don't really understand.
They're monks.
Yeah,
Tibet.
I don't really understand it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So we get all this fighting going on. Zappelli transfers all his last energy into Jonathan, which heals him, doesn't it?
It heals him and makes him about twice as buff.
Yeah, and he destroys Tarkus pretty much. And Zappelli reveals that he knew his own fate because he
Tom Petty told him where he was going to die.
Yeah. See, that Tom Petty is the llama guy.
Yeah.
It's a slightly different translation than one I watched. Because I don't think it was called Tom Petty. It was called... Oh, I don't remember what it was called, but it wasn't that. Okay, so they're also going back towards the town where Poco's from. And first we think it's going to be Dyer gets kind of introduced as if he's going to be an enemy.
Yeah.
Before he reveals himself. And we get some weird old things here in this one where, like, one of the townspeople attacks him with a tongue.
Yeah, that was odd.
Yeah, but old JoJo grabs it, pins him down, and essentially uses a ripple again to make him, I don't know, explode. Or something. Yeah.
The end result of most of being hit with the ripple is you usually explode. So.
And we also find out Poco's concerned about his sister Peggy who's
basically been kidnapped by Dio.
Yeah. Right. Okay. That leads us to episode 8. So we got a little mini arc of things about these knights really here. That's kind of a bit separate from the Jack the Ripper stuff. So 8 is bloody battle JoJo and Dio.
Yeah.
Does it open with the scene where Peggy's kind of being offered
where Peggy
eternal...
smacks Dio in the face?
Well, he offers her eternal life, and says
as a vampire bride for him, and then she refuses, so he sets a dude with snakes for a head.
It's called Doobie.
Yeah, that was stupid.
First he's got kind of a moving sack, so you can't work out what he is, but it turns out it's a snake head. Well, basically, when JoJo tries to fight him, these snakes emerge and start biting him, but it turns out he's a pile of snakes for a head or something.
Yeah. And then he blows his head up with the JoJo's
way too powerful to be bothered by this thing.
Yeah.
So Peggy and Poco are sort of safe.
Peggy and Poco basically run for it at this point.
Yeah, so JoJo goes on to
JoJo fights Dio. The Dyer gets killed by Dio, but
he does the freezing thing, and then it's a bit Terminator, isn't it? He just smashes him to pieces. Yeah.
Straits and Tom Petty, as well as Speedwagon, who's got a hammer, fighting off zombies in the meantime. And JoJo is fighting Dio, and he does a pretty good job of it. Dio's being super spooky because of his immortality.
Yeah.
So even though JoJo's hacking him up with a sword, he's putting himself back together.
Yeah, it's very weird. I liked it. I did like there was the one line when he was fighting the Dyer that made me laugh. Just before he smashed him to pieces, he said something like, "I admire your bollocks." Or something like that. That was just stubborn. It was really weird. It was really weird. So...
You need to show me these episodes, because they seemed very different to the ones I watched.
Okay. Dio's kind of coming to sliding... Where he's been cut is kind of reforming, but his body's kind of sliding along the cut lines and he's pushing himself back into shape. It's really weird. And he doesn't seem that concerned. He's talking away and pushing himself back into shape. He does
do much worse things to himself in later series because he just comes back.
Now he does, when JoJo's fighting him, he does actually freeze JoJo's arm, which takes out a lot of his ripple power. But JoJo... enjoying some distractions. JoJo just sticks it in a fire.
Yeah, he sets his fist on fire and then uses it to punch Dio.
Yeah, which is really cool. I really like that bit.
Yeah.
That was kind
if
of
he didn't do the stupid like spins beforehand, it would have been cool.
Yeah. So they basically... Is this the one where they take out...
Yeah, they take out Dio.
Pretty much.
They punch Dio off of his
because it felt like this should have been the last episode, really, but it was fine. It went on.
Yeah.
And basically he beats. Though Dio keeps reforming himself, he finally does beat him, and we see Dio's head come off. Really. Yeah.
Dio cuts off his own head to survive.
Yeah.
Which sounds weird, but because he's a vampire, he can survive that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Now, the last episode...
Actually, he cuts his own head off, doesn't he? Or...
Yeah, he like slices his own head off with his
to avoid the ripple blowing him up completely. Yeah. But then he gets his...
a guy comes along and picks him up.
And this is when... This is
Wang Chen.
Again, I thought, hold on, I thought this guy... but he's a vampire, isn't he? There's also... I've got to mention, there's also a weird thing happens when Peggy is being sort of dealt with by Dio. And it turns out Dio's got this weird little dog with a man's head, vampire head, who's saying, "Oh, she's very juicy for you, master." And he just throws the dog down and stamps on it, kills it, and says, "Dogs that make noise deserve to die." And it's like, that had nothing to do with anything. It's just...
See, in my translation, he's like talking about how young and virginal she is. And then when Dio stomps on him, he says like, proper men should not talk of such things.
No, it's slightly different. So we've had slightly different translations. Okay. That's going to affect things. That's right, because this llama guy gets introduced like he's the big boss, but he doesn't really get involved. Really.
Yeah, he fights
like really
some
weird. It's like an observer. Anyway, okay, the 9th and last episode is the final Hammond.
Yeah.
So we see... Dio's head come off and his servant go get the head and run off with it. We also see the stone mask destroyed by
Speedwagon smashes it with a sledgehammer.
Now Speedwagon takes
he's taken Zeppelin's hat.
Yeah. Then we see JoJo marry Arena and they're off on a honeymoon on a cruise.
Yeah.
The Atlantic. This reminded me a bit of Diamonds Are Forever, the end of the
Yeah.
James Bond going off on a cruise. And now they're enjoying their cruise. And for some reason, JoJo gets Arena to take some wine. And just at that moment, he kind of sees Wang Chen in the shadows. And
and then he chases him.
And he chases him. And Arena's saying, "What did I say? You know, what was that about?" And they start fighting again. Of course they do. But basically, it turns out Dio wants JoJo's body.
Yeah, he's going to cut JoJo's head off and then put his own head on JoJo's body.
Now, the rest of the ship starts going a bit mental. Wang Chen starts spreading, I don't know what around, but they turn into like vampire zombie things.
There's zombies, and eventually JoJo like knocks one of them into the engine, so it clogs up and causes...
Well, it's Wang Chen, in fact, isn't it?
Yeah.
It kind of kills him and uses a ripple power to push him into an engine part to obstruct it. The idea is he's going to blow all the engines because the pressure will build up and sink the boat. And Dio, still just ahead.
Yeah.
You know, he should have quit while he was ahead.
He's still shooting... Oh, my God. He's shooting lasers. We forgot to mention, Dio could shoot lasers out of his eyes.
Oh, yeah. There's all sorts of... He had little octopus tentacle things coming out of his
those are his blood vessels.
Yeah, okay, all right, okay.
That's the idea, but it just ended up looking like he had tentacles.
Now, the ship's about to blow. Arena's found...
a baby.
Well, I was going to say she's found JoJo and vowed to stay with him, but he points to her out that she needs to live to save this baby. Yeah. There just happens to be this baby there.
Yeah.
Well, you see the mother get killed, but it happens to be there. So Arena
gets in Dio's coffin.
Yeah. Earlier we see Dio's coffin get found by a guard, like a crew member, who realises the coffin must be locked on the inside just before Dio jumps out.
Yeah.
Of it and kills him, kind of.
So Arena gets stuffed in the coffin with the baby, and then the ship blows.
And then we see the coffin floating across the ocean earlier, and she sticks her head out, and she's got the baby, and they're sailing across the ocean.
Yeah.
And there's a little sub caption saying she was found a few days later in the Canary Islands.
Yeah.
And the story will never be known except through her to the baby.
Yeah.
And we also found that she conceived. She's pregnant with JoJo's son. Before he died, and then it ends.
Yeah,
but it does say to be continued.
Yeah,
right at the end.
Now, did you stay for after the credits?
I may have,
because you got a hint. You get a hint at the next sort of story arc.
Oh yeah, it started, and I stopped it because I thought, well, I'm not going to continue watching it, so I just stopped at that point. I figured if I'll go back to it, I don't want a hint. I want to come to it as completely don't know what's happening. So I didn't watch it. Yeah. I did watch the titles, but as soon as that started, I stopped.
Yeah.
Other than did you see him at a dockside?
No, what I'm talking about is there's a pan up, and there's you can see this pillar, and there's loads of stone masks around the bottom of it.
No, I didn't see that.
There's a pan up, and there's a dude in the pillar.
Yeah.
Made of stone.
Cool.
And he twitches.
Yeah. So this is your second watch, my first.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. It felt a little shallow, shall we put it that way, compared to some of the others. It wasn't as depressing as Attack on Titan, say.
Yeah. JoJo is a lot more light-hearted than most sort of anime and manga on the market.
Yeah, it was this constant, let's stop the action to think about what's going on, explain to everyone what's going on and what we're doing, and then get on with it. It was kind of, got a bit much.
Yeah, I think the aim of that was to sort of show they're not just
fighting.
They're not just like muscle heads just beating the tar out of each other. They are thinking through their actions.
Yeah, it was fine.
Because if you look at like Dragon Ball Z, which was coming out around the same time, I think, they were just muscle heads beating the tar out of each other, and there was no like strategy or anything to it.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it was fine. It's got that definite. Everyone's got to scream. Everyone's frenetic and has to scream.
Yeah.
Everyone's at 10 the whole time. So it's got.
Can you see why I described it when I talked about it on the podcast before as like Flash Gordon?
Yeah, a bit. It's a bit Pulp Fiction-y. They're just throwing in all sorts of elements, which is fine. I have to say, I preferred, say, One Punch way more.
Yeah. I actually think you'll like the second part more than this.
It could be. I mean, I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel that engaged in it. I'm glad it was only 9. It would have been a real drag if it had gone on to more.
Yeah.
I was kind of done by the time 9 was over. And it was all right. It was just the elements. So much was unexplained, but they was taking up so much time to articulate what their thought processes were a little bit of animation to sort of say, I'm hesitant, rather than saying, I don't know what to do now, what should I do? Though some of it was definitely needed. They were working out, I need to do this kind of ripple through this technique. It would have just looked weird if they'd have just jumped straight into the technique rather than explaining it. So, there was some reason. I did like some of it. I did like some of the elements of, Jack the Ripper and Knights from Queen Elizabeth the First time. That was kind of fun, and the names were kind of fun too. I just realised Zeppeli was Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
I've just realised. Wow.
Like, it gets really stupid, the references in later ones. Like, I know you're on the Wikipedia page for the episodes. If you pan up a bit and look at the names of the characters from part 2, they're called like, there's Susie Q. Lisa. Yeah.
AC/DC.
AC/DC, nice. Whamu and Cars.
Whamu.
And there's like antagonists later on called Vanilla Ice, Red Hot Chili Pepper.
There was some definitely interesting captioning in this. Like I say, some of the captioning felt like it was just words put through Google Translator and literally dumped onto the screen because it was like really badly translated. And other ones, there was definitely care because they were alliterate. They were particularly, not so much with JoJo, but I noticed there was lots of alliteration with both Dio and Speedwagon.
Yeah, Dio tends to be very sort of flamboyant and
Yeah.
So, but Zebli's was pretty articulate in the one I...
Oh, yeah, he was articulate, but he didn't do the same kind of flourishes that...
See, I think
Speedwagon
I
off.
may have been watching, like, an official subtitling that they put, that some guys, like, pirated onto the internet, and you might have been watching a fan one.
Yeah, maybe. I kind of liked it. There was some silly stuff, but it was kind of fine. So it was all right. Not my favourite anime of the ones we watched, but I thought it was fine fine enough. Okay, shall we wind out there?
Yeah, okay.
Next time we do a TV, I think we're going back to Kolchak for a bit. So we'll be doing Kolchak in about a month. I think there's 12 left to do. I don't think we're going to do all 12. I think we'll probably just do 6. But next week we'll be coming back with a regular kind of more regular program, discussing a movie. What that movie will be, I'm not sure yet, but we'll see. Okay, so bye from me.
Bye.
Summers will be